Hey everyone, welcome back, and in the following set of videos, we're going to learn everything there is to know about factoring, which is such a fundamental skills for any math class you guys are going to take. Now, let's start off with example 1. We have x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, this is a very simple trinomial, right? So what we're going to do, since the leading coefficient is 1, right? It's 1. We're going to find two numbers that multiply to give you the last term, which is 6. And then we're going to find two of the same numbers that add up to give you 5. If we think about it, okay, what are the factors of 6? We have 1 and 6, but 1 and 6 don't add up to give you 5. But if we think about it, 3 and 2 multiply to give you 6, and 3 and 2 also add up to give you 5. So these are the numbers we can use. So now that we have our factors, this is what we can do. We can open up our brackets. We can have x. We're going to have x plus 3, because we have 3 over here, right? It's one of our factors. So we're going to have x plus 3 times x plus 2. So you see, guys, very simple. And yeah, and if we multiply all of this out, we're going to get our original equation. Sorry, not an equation, just a statement. Okay, example 2. Try to do this one on your own, and pause this video, and I'll see you guys. Okay, so we have x squared minus 3x minus 10. Let's do the same thing. Two numbers that multiply to give you negative 10, and two numbers that add up to give you negative 3. For now, I recommend you guys draw these boxes for every single problem, but as you progress further and further into math, like, you can do most of factoring in your head. I would even say all of it. So now, two numbers that add up to negative 10, we can have negative 5 and 2. And if we add up negative 5 and 2, we're going to get negative 3. So you see, we got it on our first try. So we would have x minus 5 this time, and we would have x plus 2. Okay, so far so good. This has been very simple. Now let's move on to splitting the middle term. Now the following two examples are a little more challenging, but if you follow the method correctly, you should be able to get them every single time. The method I'm going to teach you guys is splitting the middle term. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the coefficient of the leading term, which is 2, by 3. And we're going to find two numbers that multiply to give you that. So for example, the leading coefficient of this statement is 2, and we're going to multiply it by the last term, which is 3. So we're going to get 6. And then we're just going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to find two numbers that add up to give you 7. Very similar method, but we're going to do something different a little bit later. So two numbers that multiply to give you 6 are 6 and 1, and they also add up to give you 7. Okay, now this is 6 and 1 are going to be what we're splitting the middle term into. So we're going to keep our first term. We're going to keep 2x squared. And now instead of writing plus 7x, we're going to write plus 6x and plus x. 6x and plus x. As you can see, 6x plus x is 7x, but we just split the middle term into two other terms. And you're going to see why we did that in just a second. And then we're just going to keep our last term once again, plus 3. Now, we're going to look at these two terms and these two terms separately. And the reason that is that we're going to take the greatest common factor out of both of them. So if we take a look at this, 2x squared plus 6x has something in common, and that is 2x. This is the greatest thing we can take out of that statement. So if we take out 2x out of 2x squared, we're going to be left with x. And if we take out 2x out of 6x, we're just going to get 3. And now x plus 3 don't have the greatest common factor, so we're just going to write plus 1 x plus 3. Great. As you can see, we didn't change the original statement at all. We just broken it down. Now, this is the key idea, guys. You see how in the parentheses we have x plus 3? We need to have always the same thing in the parentheses. That's how you know the method worked. Now, since x plus 3 is being multiplied by 2x plus 1, we can just multiply the coefficients of x plus 3 together. So we're going to have 2x plus 1 as one of the factors. See, we're just bringing it together. 2x plus 1, and x plus 3 is going to stay. And this is the final form. This is the final factored form of example 1. So don't forget, guys, multiply the leading coefficient of the first term by the last term, and then split the middle term, and then factor by grouping. Okay, let's move on to trinomial number 2. Try to do this, guys, by yourself on a piece of paper and get back to the video. Okay, so for our first step, let's multiply 3 by 8. We're going to get 24. So we're going to need two numbers that multiply to give you 24. Then we're going to need, and then we're going to need two numbers that add up to give you negative 14. Sorry for my handwriting, by the way. Okay, so let's think about 24 for a second. We have 6 and 4. No, that's not going to work. We have 8 and 3. No, that's not going to work. Okay, we have 12 and 2. Yeah, if we take negative 12 and multiply it by negative 2, we're going to get positive 24. And if we add up negative 12 and negative 2, we're going to get negative 14. Perfect. So this is what we're going to split our middle term into. We're going to keep the first term, split the middle term into negative. We're going to split negative 14x into negative 12x minus 2. And we're going to keep our last term, which is just 8. Now let's factor by grouping. So you have 3x squared minus 12x. Our greatest common factor would be 3x. So if we take out 3x out of 3x squared, we're going to be left with x. And if we take out 3x out of negative 12x, we're just going to be left with negative 4. Now you see, guys, this is our first expression in the brackets. So our second expression in the brackets has to be the exact same thing. So let's look at the second part. Let's look at negative 2x plus 8. Our greatest common factor would just be negative 2. We always want to keep the x positive. That's like a little pro tip for you guys. If we take out negative 2 out of negative 2x, we're going to be left with x. If we take out negative 2 out of 8, we're going to be left with negative 4, which is exactly what we've been looking for. Now we can just combine this a little bit. We can combine 3x minus 2 into one parentheses. And then the x minus 4 kind of just come together because they're already being multiplied by 3x and negative 2. So this is how we're just able to transform them into this way simpler equation. Sorry, not an equation, an expression. Okay, great. This is our final factored form. Now let's finish off the video by doing a little bonus question. So try to do this one on your own and come right back. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a hint. You have to take out the greatest common factor before you factor the trinomial. So let's think about this. 4x squared, 12x, and 8 all have a greatest common factor of 4. So we can just take 4 right out. And if we take 4 out, we're going to be left with x squared plus 3x plus 2. And if we distribute the 4, we're going to get back our original expression back. Okay, now let's factor this trinomial. So since the leading coefficient is 1, we can use our little shortcut and we don't have to actually split the middle term or anything. So two numbers that multiply to give you 2, right? Because that's the last term. And then two numbers that add up to give you the middle term, which is 3. So two numbers that multiply to give you 2 will be 2 and 1. And 2 and 1 also add up to give you 3. So we can just work with that. And also our 4 is always going to stay. It's never going to leave because we can't just throw it away, right? So we're going to have x plus 2. And we're going to have x plus 1. Okay, and we did it, guys. This is the final factored version of our trinomial. As you see, it wasn't that hard after all. I hope you guys ace your math test. I'll see you in the future videos about completing the square. And have a great day. Goodbye.